we are embarking now on a rollout of Max across APAC. So in the coming weeks and months, you'll see a lot of announcements in the different markets. And I think that one of the key messages is that we are being quite flexible and diverse in how we roll it out, in the sense that we have, of course, the direct service that we'll be rolling out in a number of markets. But we also have Max with partners, and we work very closely with partners across a number of models. And the idea being that our goal is to reach the fan base and to have a route to market to the fan base in a way that recognizes that the fans are there, that there's a lot of partners who already have significant audiences. And so, in the cases where it makes sense to work with them to bring the service to our customers, we're very, very happy to do that. So in the case of Unext, that's an example of us working with a partner. Mm-hmm. So the Max service is launching within the Unext service in Japan later today, and it will be available to the Unext subscribers. There's no additional price, so the cost of the service is included within what they pay for Unext, and the service is exactly as it would be. It's a complete Max service, and it will be available to the subscribers there. So that's the sort of distribution part of the equation. And then on the other side, we also have an arrangement in that deal where we access the Japanese content that Unext is producing with its local partners for the global Max platform. So it's a sort of two-way street in both distribution and content.
As you go deeper into Japan, and I know you're also going to be carrying some of the Unext content in other parts of the world, we can talk about that. What about local production and content in Japan? Because I know you have some of the anime stuff that you guys do out there. How does that work?
Well, I think the way that I talk about the local content, which I know has been a huge topic here today, and it's really very reassuring to see the growth of those key categories, the Korean, the Chinese, Japanese anime and series, and the success recently, at the Emmys. It's really encouraging to see that, and we believe really strongly that content is not only essential for audiences within APAC, but also that it plays a key role in audiences globally. So when we look at those categories in Asia, there's two different ways we look at it. One is that as we bring our service to market, we want to make sure that we either have the content or we have an adjacency with the key Asian content. So in the Unext case, obviously the Max service is there, and it sits alongside a very broad, local Japanese offering on the Unext service. So that's one aspect of it. But then the other side of it is that we can also obviously work with those partners, and we are in several conversations around the region, but we're working with those partners to take that content globally. In addition to that, there are also certain areas where we are producing directly. So this is not all of the areas, but one example is in anime. So we have been a long producer of Japanese anime in the Japanese market, and we have decided to expand that. So we've increased our investment in the Japanese studio. We are producing that content, such as JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and Record of Ragnarok and other series. We've also, on that front, we've also started to localize our global IP in the anime category. So this year we launched Isekai Suicide Squad, which is Suicide Squad DC characters, but brought to life in the Isekai anime genre, which had a really fantastic fan response. So in a targeted way, we will invest directly to create content, and in those cases, that content we create is on a studio basis, meaning that if Max wants to take it, that's fantastic. But we produce a lot for other platforms as well. So that's a studio model.
Understood.
So in that sense, we take Asian content very seriously, but the way we approach it is from the perspective of what does Max need, but also from the perspective of what can we create that's just fabulous IP that can have an ROI across different business segments.
Just focusing on Max, James,
yes.
and moving from Japan, you've obviously got Southeast Asia where you have a legacy service. Has been around for some time. When you're thinking about markets, partnerships, and timing, What are you thinking about for Max in this part of the world, and which markets are you excited about?
Well, first of all, we're launching across Southeast Asia, Hong Kong, and Taiwan by the end of the year.
Okay.
Right? So this is confirmed. This will be happening. It's taken a lot of work behind the scenes, obviously. Thank you. It's been taking a lot of work behind the scenes to have everything in place. And so, as you mentioned, HBO Go is present in those markets. So we will essentially be replacing that with Max across, as I said, Southeast Asia, the 5 markets, Hong Kong and Taiwan. And in that rollout, which will happen by the end of the year, it's a combination of obviously our direct service, which will be available on the web and through app stores, but also working with partners through a range of models, app integration, as well as having the service within the partner's environment. So it's exciting that it's all finally happening, and everyone's working very hard to make sure it's a success.
Got it. And I want to move further to Australia and New Zealand, obviously hearing from Patrick later today. Your content's always been very resonant there, both at Discovery and now obviously with Warner, with HBO and so forth. And you have a number of key partnerships. What's the strategy there with Max? Because that potentially is a large region for you.
Yeah, so I think we're also, we can also confirm that we'll be launching our direct service in Australia in the first half of next year.
Okay.
So that's definitely happening. And as you mentioned, we have had a long-standing and really important relationship with Foxtel, and I think that the time has come for us to expand that into the D2C space. And as I said, partners are really important for us. And in fact, if I think about across the region, the discussions that we've either announced or the discussions were happening, in every case, we continue to work with our key partners to roll out direct-to-consumer and streaming. And I think that really says a lot about what our view of streaming is in today's world.
Right.
And it also says a lot about, I think, how partners and aggregators are looking at the business.